Hi everyone, it's me again. Today I think I'm going to be talking about something a little more serious. It's just a thought I had and I felt like I should probably be talking about this. Can I keep this here? I don't know. Anyway, so I can't make this too long, but I might have to because I can't make this too long because I have to take a shower. I just got back from the gym, and I was flexing in the mirror and shit, and I was like thinking these random thoughts, and all of a sudden this one thing came into my head about how like step families work. So I think I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was thinking, does my nose look like my mom's or my dad's? And I thought it's kind of like a mix of both. And since I am uploading these onto YouTube as well, most of you don't know that I have a stepmother because my mom passed away in 2015 and my dad remarried. But yeah, I don't want to go too in depth into that, but I just wanted to clarify that I am someone who has like a very strange but at the same time very functional family in terms of parenthood. And yeah, I wanted to talk about that for a bit. And honestly, I think, well, actually I'll get to that later on, but right now I'm going to say how weirded out I am, even though being part of one, of how commonplace step families have become in the 21st century. Maybe it's my innocent teenager brain just not knowing how the world works or what is, but there's a lot of layers to this, and there's like this whole system involved. And from what I've heard, I don't have any statistics on this, so don't quote me. There's a lot more of step families and single parents in. God, my scalp is so damn itchy. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be doing this a lot. There's been a lot of so there's like this thing, right, where it's very commonplace in the West for single parents to exist, and for many reasons, and a lot of them have to do with hookup culture, people getting into relationships and committing too easily and too quickly. A lot of that. Honestly, anything I say, it literally has little to no merit because I'm a fucking teenager. I haven't seen the world, but I have heard people talk about it, including my parents, other people on the internet, from things that I've heard, some statistics, but I couldn't give you those right now. And it makes me really uncomfortable thinking that you can't have. I mean, you can have, but it's not. It's become very normalized to not have a single family that exists for however long you live. So I'll give you an example of my situation. So I was born in 2005 to I'm the oldest child. I've always been the oldest child, and I had so we had our family had so I had a baby sister in 2012, and it was all nice. And then this was so just before, like a couple weeks before, 2 3 weeks 3 weeks before I 2 weeks 2 weeks before I turned 10, my mom passed away. She had a brain hemorrhage, something like that. And after that, my for a year, my dad was a single parent. Over a year, it was 14 months my dad was a single parent. And yeah, it was really difficult for him. So at some point he realized that I don't want to go into too much detail because this is public on the internet, but for my sister, he realized something, that he is a man and he's not educated enough to be. Sorry, where was I? My phone ran out of storage. I think I should get like an external card thing. Anyway, so yeah, so my dad, he had realized that he couldn't raise a daughter on his own, so he wanted to look for other. So his main motive for remarriage was that there'll be a mother for my sister and someone who can look who can take care of my sister. And what he also wanted was that his intention was to marry someone who already had a child, so another single parent. And this was done so that the other parent would know that my dad has the right intention of all of us in mind as kids, and my mom with the intention that she also had all of the kids in mind. I hope I'm not too loud because it'll be kind of embarrassing if my parents hear this. It's like that. When you see like all of these kid YouTubers recording fucking shitpost ass videos, and and you can tell that they can't talk too loud because they're whispering to the phone because then their parents will hear them, and they're supposed to be like doing homework or some shit. But anyway, I am butt naked, by the way. Sorry for that unnecessary information. I should probably put this in the laundry because it's sweaty as hell. Anyway, so yeah, so the intention was that both parents would have all of the kids' uh, best intentions in mind, rather than just the parent or just like fulfilling their own needs. And I think that was one of the best decisions my dad's ever made in terms of his parenthood, because he's made a lot of mistakes, I feel like, with me, and he still continues to do so. I'm not gonna lie, but it's okay. I think he's been a good dad, and my mom's being a good mom right now. Anyway, so yeah, so that happened, and but this is a very specific and somewhat strange case, because I'm like every single person I know who has had a single parent and the single parent remarries. It's never in the same situation. It's always that the other person is single themselves and they've not had a successful relationship, or they're divorced, or they're widowed, or whatever it is. And I've noticed that, and I feel like that having that as a single parent, it creates a lot of issues in the family. I mean, a lot of them come up in media, but like a lot, but anyway, it is. I think about it, and I think about how through the media that I've consumed. Once again, I'm making the disclaimer that a lot of my opinions on this are based around the media that I consume and not around real life personal experiences. So please keep that in mind. So yeah, uh, it's very strange of me to think that if I were to go somewhere in the West and tell people that I have a stepmother and a stepsister, that they'd be like, okay, fine, this is probably like the 15 20th person who's my age who's told me that, because it's very commonplace. It's very normal to say that. But I feel like here in India, you say that and there's almost like this look of shock on people's faces. No, I've realized not as much with so I've been to different types of schools, right? I've been to a bunch of schools, and there's always been a slightly different crowd in each school. And I feel like the more rich, spoiled kids, to them it's more normal, which which I mean, there is a correlation between that and the West, because obviously they're consuming a lot more Western media. Their parents and they themselves have thrown around a lot of Western concepts, rather than I'm not saying I've had illiterate friends. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'd say like it's been a solid 50-50 of more like they see people, and more like Western oriented people. I honestly prefer a mix of the two. That's like where the sweet spot is, in my opinion. People who value their culture, traditions, morals, etc., but at the same time they are aware of a lot of things around the world. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but my point is that it kind of causes me like it creates this sense of discomfort, sorry, uncomfort isn't a word, um, discomfort in me to think about that. So yeah, okay, so now let's go into why actually you have single parents in the first place, single parents or divorced people, because I've also had this. I broke up with my ex like a couple months ago, and I had this horrible feeling because I had this incredible connection with a person, and it was going so well, and I loved them so much, but then things happened, and we had to break up, and the whole process of breaking, because we had like our own things to do, there were external uh, circumstances, some internal as well, but let's not get into that. And it just like it really, I was having a crisis for I think several weeks after a certain point, thinking that why why can't you just pick one person and live the rest of your life with them? Why can't it be as pure as that? And obviously the people first of all, the world isn't that simple. People constantly change. Second thing is that we are social creatures. We talk to multiple people in our lives. we we come across like hundreds of thousands of people over the course of our lives, and it's very difficult to have just one out of those 100,000 people to stay with, to have a significant other. And I sense that it's with more and more newer ideas and liberalism, which I think is a good thing, by the way. If you have the wrong idea that I am super conservative, I'm just saying that I'm centralist, but probably a little more left leaning. Anyway, I think, it's also important to recognize why these situations happen in the first place. So first is that people change, people have different habits, people get complacent over time, people get lazier and stupider, and they fall into bad habits. And on a more dark and serious side, relationships get abusive, and you see that a lot. Especially these days, I've noticed that a lot of, I have certain friends, and there's a lot of people who are living with their single moms because their single dad was abusive, and it's horrible. It's terrifying to think that you could have a father figure who is so important for developing you as a person, especially in your early years. It's just having them become this horrible person that's just kind of casting a shadow over your entire life through abuse. So yeah, abuse is one thing. Then you have death, which death honestly isn't. You can't change that. And I mean, yeah, there is this sort of culture in India where you're always willing to give your partner a chance, and I feel like there's in lighter circumstances where you have certain rifts or whatever going on, you give your parents give each other a chance, and that's very important. And it also teaches the children the value of maintaining a relationship. Like I'm a very strong believer in constantly giving. Well, I mean, obviously there's like a certain limit, but you have to constantly make sure that everything is going well, and you have to make sure that your partner is happy with you and you are happy with them. And if that isn't the case, then you don't have to break it off. You always have to try and make it better, and you have to do that in a healthy way. Now, the mistake I made was that I didn't do it in a healthy way, and that led to a lot of problems. But I also feel like the mistake on my former partner's part was that I feel like they might not have known how important it was to talk through things and understand each other's feelings and emotions. And I feel like that's a value a lot of people lack, especially I've noticed with people who come from single parent households. And it might sound very wrong to blame people's families and their relationships for certain things, but that's just the truth. There's statistics out there. The single parent households are a big problem. They're a massive problem in the West, and and as people who want to protect our own culture and our well-being, we cannot let this happen to us. We can't let single parent households grow so massively, because I remember the one year I had of having just a father taking care of my sister. It was terrifying. Like it is terrifying to think of. I don't know how we got through that one year, specifically my dad, because I was so young and my sister was so young that we had no clue what was going on. My sister was literally 3 4 years old and I was 10. Now I'm 17 now. I've just turned 17. Fuck, I honestly, sometimes I can't believe that I'm kind of this young. Oh, but look at me, I'm a mature boy. No, that's not what I'm trying to say, but my point is that I've observed a lot of things which I feel like a lot of other people my age don't actually end up observing. So I like to talk about these things to help them gain a better perspective, better they get to look through my eyes for a bit. And yeah, it's honest, it's very my point is that I feel like we need to once again go through this movement of realizing how valuable maintaining relationships are. And I've noticed a lot that with a lot of people, especially with Western culture, I don't there's something that I want. Fuck, I need to do something about my iPhone storage. Anyway, what were we talking about? Yeah, so it's become very commonplace to for for I think divorce rates are going up constantly in America specifically, and I don't really like using the example of America, but I feel like it's also important because so much of our society, specifically speaking in India, as well as I've noticed a lot of other brown countries, Eastern countries, that so much of our culture is especially Gen Z and stuff. Like we look up to Americans, and anyway, my point is that we're seeing a lot of divorce rates go up, and I feel like think about how many people, and I've seen this with my own eyes. I've seen people break up over really petty things. Also, I'm strictly talking about heterosexual relationships in here because I feel like that's the overwhelming majority of how relationships work, of how relationships are. Anyway, I feel like a lot of there must be so many breakups that occurred because of the stubbornness of one or both partners to just not give it give it a try, not to try and fix things, because they've had this they've had this thought from the media implied in their head that either A, things always go well, or B, you're in an abusive relationship and you need to get out of it. And when you are in that phase of when things are going wrong, it becomes very easy for you to quit. And this doesn't only go for relationships. This is a life thing in general, because it's very important to not give up when things start going south. I feel like there's always importance in constantly keeping the pace up. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if I have more to say, honestly, because these are just the thoughts that I've had in my head, and I didn't write anything down. I just spoke my mind, and I hope I mean, if anyone watches these videos on YouTube, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on everything I've said, because I'd love to know, honestly, and I'd love to have a debate about it. And if even if there's one comment, it would mean a lot, honestly. Also, I am gonna keep doing this YouTube thing because it's fun. I just like talking a lot, and if I do keep doing it and my channel blows up someday, then hopefully people will come to my first couple videos and they're gonna see this thing and be like, damn, Abhay, you were so humble and chill back then. I didn't know you used to fucking record videos in the bathroom. This is my recording studio, honestly. This is perfect. Anyway, yeah. Give me your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe. Thank you.